welcome to the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd. Happy Wednesday, late morning, right around lunchtime, and the clouds are starting to move out for some. Not for everybody, but for some. In fact, I went and spent the last 20 to 30 minutes altering the forecast temperatures for the day because I was convinced I don't think the clouds are going to get out of here. And then as soon as I made all those changes, the clouds started to move out of here. Again, low clouds are like an annoying toddler or a stubborn old man or something like that. They leave when they want, they do what they want, and essentially when you start kind of planning for them in the forecast, they start to do the exact opposite of what you're planning for them to do. It is what it is. But we are starting to see some peaks of sunshine. As I mentioned, it's kind of like the clouds are going to take an extended lunch break, and then they're going to roll back in today. In fact, you're already seeing across East Texas, and expect that plume of moisture in the cloud cover to move back in as we go through the day. Today's forecast made possible by ServPro. Faster any size disaster. 3 locations across the area to serve you: Shreveport, Monroe, West Monroe, and Natchez. Call or click servpro.com today. Again, we expect the rain to be kind of in quick form to return across the area tonight, right after the clouds roll in. Those are expected, again, late this afternoon, early this evening. And then we set the stage for rain, maybe a few thunderstorms along the way during the overnight hours tonight. Radar made possible by Brown's Roofing. Schedule your free roof inspection, brownsroofingla.com. Overall, no rainfall yet. It'll just kind of appear, if you will, on the radar screen. It'll pop up pretty quickly later on tonight as we get a little bit of lift in the atmosphere, a weak little mid-level impulse moving in, a weak frontal boundary also kind of playing a role in setting the stage for the rain chances later on tonight. Temperatures at the noontime hour, we were expecting to be in the low to mid-40s at this point, and some spots are. A lot of locations are still in the mid to upper 30s, though, and it is quite chilly. 36 in El Dorado, 39 in Monroe, 43 currently in Natchez, where temperatures have climbed pretty quickly in the last hour or so. Again, areas in the southern parishes and counties, really generally south of I-20, seeing appreciable amounts of sunshine, while the rest of us are still quite socked in with cloud cover, at least here in the short term. Check of dew points across the area. And again, most locations are still relatively dry in terms of the overall atmospheric profile. There's at least a little bit of a gap from the low 40s that we're seeing in the southern parishes to the mid to upper 30s. That drier air is kind of wedged in near the surface, and that's also helping that'll probably limit how much rain we can get down to the surface through the early part of the evening hours. You're going to have to kind of saturate that lowest level, which won't take terribly long. Again, there's only a few degree difference. It's not like we're talking about an astronomically dry air mass in place. Just a little bit of a gap between the dew points and the current temperatures. Wind speeds are out of the northwest, or excuse me, out of the southeast and fairly light. Those southeasterly winds kept a lot of areas above freezing this morning. Also, the clouds had a lot to do with that. We were expecting a degree of clearing, and with a little bit of clearing and some drier air, we would have easily dropped below freezing this morning, but the clouds held in, and again, low clouds kind of act as a blanket. They can shield sunshine out, but they can also trap solar radiation in. So if you get a lot of sun's energy absorbed at the surface, and then those low clouds hang around, it just all keeps it trapped near the surface. It can't radiate freely into the atmosphere. So again, that made the difference between a lot of areas seeing 30 versus 36 this morning, or 35 versus 29. So again, big differences in terms of the temperatures. Adithya, good afternoon to you. Apparent temperatures, again, you factor in the winds when you step outside. You throw in the cloud cover as another dynamic, and it's pretty uncomfortable. Most of us feeling like the mid to upper 30s. Some spots in the southern parishes feel sort of like their actual air temperatures. But again, in the grand scheme of things, pretty uncomfortable here on a Wednesday afternoon. Check out the water vapor imagery, and we're starting to get those southwesterly upper-level winds. The subtropical moisture starting to become a bigger player in the forecast, and it will be that way for the next several days. In fact, a check of what I'm talking about, a look at Futurecast. Futurecast made possible by Bayou Power Sports, I-20 Frontage Road in Monroe. But this is what I'm talking about. This pattern right here, transporting subtropical Pacific moisture, just funneling it all in. in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And I like to call it a conveyor belt of moisture. But as we go through the next couple of days, note that doesn't really change. And in fact, it sets us up with kind of a pretty deep envelope of moisture across much of the Gulf Coast region, the lower Mississippi Valley, starting tomorrow. That sets us up for the rainfall as we go late tonight into the daytime hours tomorrow. Then there's a little bit of a gap, and then another disturbance, another impulse moves through, brings more rain in. It also sets us up for that same general pattern, unfortunately, for Friday. Now, we do have a weak frontal boundary that will move off to the south, and so a lot of what we would see would be overrunning showers. Most of it would be very scattered and light. But I've had to bump the rain chances up for Friday. And if you've gone to the app yet and checked the forecast for our area, I have had to bump those rain chances up just a skosh. And that's kind of a bummer, especially, as we look toward high school football games on Friday night. I think that most areas will be drying out during that stretch, but can't completely rule out the shower activity. Lightning won't be an issue, but it'll be cold and it'll be rainy. Leading up to kickoff in many spots on Friday. By Friday evening, rain may be out. We'll just have to wait and see. Good afternoon, Claudia and Dendro Pyro on YouTube. I can't see names on YouTube. Just signing names, screen names, signing whatever they call them. Maybe that's probably what the whole point of YouTube is, so you don't know who everybody is. As we go into Saturday and Sunday, the upper level pattern starts to change. We start to bring a cold front through the region, and so the deeper envelope of moisture starts to kind of shift a little bit farther eastward. Our deeper subtropical winds also kind of shift the focus of the deeper layered moisture east. I still can't rule out a stray shower or two on Saturday, but I think the rain chances start to draw to a close as we go into the weekend. And then we'll bring a weak cold front in on Sunday, maybe scour out a shower along the boundary itself, but once it passes through, note how much the upper level pattern changes. And instead of seeing these deep subtropical, deep subtropical moisture streaming back in, instead we're back into the northwesterly pattern aloft, which is probably going to give us a pretty prolonged dry period into the weekend and into the early parts of next week. How long it lasts, don't really know. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. There's the rain setting up, again, along that weak frontal boundary tonight. I would not be surprised for a lot of areas to maybe hear a rumble of thunder during the overnight time frame. Rain chances really maximize between about 2 and 5 a.m. Across most of the region. Boundary sweeps eastward, but a lot of overrunning moisture and more upper-level impulses helping to funnel moisture up and over that boundary will set us up for additional rain chances. The rain, again, takes a brief pause late morning, early afternoon, and then it's back in late afternoon into the evening hours. Again, if you missed us this morning, the El Dorado Christmas Parade is planning to roll tomorrow evening with the acknowledgement of rain in the forecast. And again, I still think that is the right decision. Thunderstorm activity will likely stay to our south. But rain will be a possibility for parade goers on Thursday night. Again, I'm not telling you not to go. In fact, I highly encourage you to go. It's a blast in El Dorado every year to go to that Christmas parade. Throw your poncho and go on to the parade and be prepared for the rainfall, with the potential for it to move out right around parade time, and then the rain becomes progressively more scattered as we go through the day on Friday. Friday's a tough call in terms of rainfall. I think along and south of I-20 probably have the best chances. It'll still be off and on and scattered and light, but it just really kind of makes for a miserable day. It'll be cloudy and gross and chilly and rainy, but temperatures will start to rebound a little bit this weekend before we swing that cold front in on Sunday, and that knocks temperatures again down for the early parts of next week. Oh, I didn't need to know your real name, Chris, but thanks for letting me know. I didn't want to call you out for it. I was just saying hello. But hello. Rainfall accumulations. Hey, this is new. Hang on a second. I haven't seen this yet. You can see the sharp contrast in rain totals from north to south. This is the new totaling from the Barron 3K run. It may have just refreshed in the last 20 minutes as I was putting this graphic sequence together. And it still brings 2+ inch rain totals across the southern parishes and counties with maybe up to 3 inches of rain. I think those rain totals are a smidge overdone. And that's why, again, I like to show you a lot of different vantage points from all this stuff. And I think it's fair to assess the kind of the higher end scenarios, but also kind of the more realistic scenarios. But when you take into account from this is highest rain totals, most consistent rainfall, most prolonged showers expected in the southern parishes and counties. As you move farther northward, we are still expecting rain, but it'll be a lot more intermittent, off and on, scattered, lighter stuff as we go through the next 48 hours. Here's a look at what I showed you this morning. I call it we call it, I didn't come up with the name, but it's the NBM. It's the National Blend of Models, kind of a weighted look at a lot of different data, kind of packaged together to where it can be used almost as just an actual computer model itself, even though, again, it's not. And it shows kind of the same general gradient of rain totals. Few tenths of an inch of rain across southern Arkansas, getting close to half, 3/4 of an inch of rain along I-20, and then you're talking about 1 to 2 inches of rain potentially as you get south of I-20. The official rainfall forecast from the Weather Prediction Center shapes up like this. And again, I'm not here to pick apart somebody's forecast. This was a human-drawn forecast by someone that works at the Weather Prediction Center. And again, not trying to pick it apart, but it has those 2+ inch rain totals across the area, across the southern counties and parishes. But as you move farther northward, I think the rain totals in Camden and Magnolia are a tad underdone. I think we're probably going to see a little bit more than 1/10 of an inch of rain in a lot of those areas. I think 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch of rain seems pretty realistic and legitimate. But the rest of that I have no problem with. I don't have any problem with the forecast as it sits, as the graphics sits. If I had a genuine problem with it, I wouldn't have shown it to you. But I just think that maybe those rain totals could be bumped up a tad across southern Arkansas, especially in the far northern reaches of our coverage area in southern Arkansas. Highway 278 and northward. Aside from that, again, those rain total forecasts kind of fall in line with what we would generally expect to see. 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches. And when you start taking into account how much the rain's needed, you can see why there's no excessive rain outlooks or real excessive rain concerns across our area. Unless that's changed. Again, I dropped this graphic sequence in about 10 minutes ago, and I didn't include any of those because I did not see any excessive rain outlooks. So, but again, you look at the 30% normal of rainfall over the last, or the percentage of normal rainfall over the last 30 days. Words are hard today. And it shows that most of the area is running at a pretty appreciable deficit in the last month of rainfall. You're aiming for about 100%. Considering the deficits we've been running at, you'd love to see us over 100% in a lot of areas, and nobody's over 100%. In fact, most of us seeing 1/4 or 1/2 of what we would normally expect to see over the last 30 days. So we need the rainfall. And we can take the rainfall without any major headaches as long as the downpours don't get overly heavy, and they shouldn't. Daytime highs, again, for the rest of the day, mid-40s. I've altered those forecast highs. Some areas may still get to 50. In fact, in the southern parishes and counties, there's a lot of areas that are already approaching the 50-degree mark. Lows tonight will fall back into the low 40s. Showers after midnight. A few rumbles of thunder not out of the question as well, with winds generally out of the south-southeast. Look at the 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware. Again, rain chances are back in tonight. They are not shown on the 7-day because those are the daytime rain chances, which are pretty close to 0. I could have thrown a rain chance in there, but just trust me, the rain returns tonight. Showers and thunderstorms off and on through the day tomorrow. Again, probably wake up to rain, may find a gap in the rainfall around lunchtime, and then it's back tomorrow afternoon. Showers linger for a good chunk of the area through Friday, maybe even a sprinkle or two on Saturday. Cold front kind of wipes the slate clean for Sunday, and we are cooler to start next week, but we are dry to start next week, and morning lows could revisit the freezing mark during that stretch as well. That's a look at your forecast for this midday on this Wednesday, December 3rd. If you are headed out and about, again, clouds roll in late. Rain will be pretty quick to follow. The forecast for your specific location can be found at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app, available for Apple and Android users. You can also order your Too Long Didn't Read hat, your Chunky Snow hat. Those are available for purchase on the website. First round of Black Friday, small business Saturday purchases shipped yesterday. So if you ordered your hat over the weekend, I sent those out yesterday. You should be getting them in a day or two, and I hope you enjoy them. Again, forecast is always available specific to your location on the app. I just uploaded those just a few minutes ago. So the rain chances, temperature, sky conditions have all been tweaked for the next 48, 70, actually over the next 7 days, but you'll notice it more over the next 48 to 72 hours. Fish and game forecast later tonight. I'll have another live stream later this evening as well as we kind of track the clouds and the rain as they roll back in across the area, bringing some much-needed showers later on tonight. Thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. As always, so glad you're here. Thanks for making me part of your day, and we look forward to visiting with you a little bit later this afternoon.